We rolled out the red carpet this morning for a living legend. There's only 32 members that hold the position he holds, and I am very honored to sit next to him. Normally, I've been called into the GM's office no more than 10 times, no less than 8 times. You name it, 9 times. Now the GM's walking into my office. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Ballard.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you're the Indianapolis Colts GM.
Yes, I am.
Your entire life, you wanted to be a general manager of an NFL team. Is that right?
That's right.
Now you are, speak into the microphone, Chris. Jesus.
Oh, sorry. You got a big mic. I thought I'd be able to hear.
Yeah, I do. You know. Yeah. All right. So you were a hot commodity in the scouting world, in the front office side of the world, and you chose to come to the Indianapolis Colts, basically. And now your first season, a little bit of a rocky start, a lot of drama. How would you describe your life as a GM?
Well, they say there's going to be 5 things come across your desk that you didn't expect, and they were wrong.
Okay.
Because it's about 25 things.
First one. What's the first one that you were like, holy shit, I'm a GM in the NFL now?
So I just had my press conference, signed it was after I said yes to take the job. There is complete panic mode because Pat McAfee is going to retire.
What was it? That was the same day, wasn't it?
And then you go to I said, give him to me. Just give him to me. Chuck's like, no, you don't want to. No. Jim says, I'm going to talk to him. And I said, and so then I'm waiting. I'm thinking it's going to be, 20 minutes. Next thing I know, 3 hours later.
Hour and 40-minute conversation. Me and Jim Irsay talked for an hour and 40 minutes. You're going to be a boss? That's crazy. It was one of my favorite conversations in my life, but that was the same day.
That was the first thing. Right away, right off the bat.
Hey, just a heads up, the punter, you might know him from Twitter or from his arrest record. But yeah, he's retiring. He's decided. That is interesting. I never even thought about it. Because the decision to retire came like so many months ahead of you. It just so happened to happen on the same fucking day. Well, it wasn't you that drove me out. As soon as that as soon as your press conference happened, they announced you. As I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not working for Chris Ballard.
I appreciate it. Just another hole to fill.
I'll tell you what, though. I got a chance to sit down with you, what was that, the next week, because I had to sign like an actual paper so that they wouldn't drug test me anymore to get me out of the drug testing program. It was great. It's been that paper that I signed has been the best one yet. But I got a chance to chat with you. And it was in the same office that I've been fined numerous times in. It was the same office that I talked to Bill Polian after a blacked out situation in Broad Ripple. And I had a conversation with you, and you were honestly one of the most on it guys. Like you were just, everything I asked, you were just ready to roll with. I was like, what are you going to do about your coaching situation? And you said, well, Chuck is still here. We're going to roll with him. We're going to try to teach him. We're going to try to learn him. We're going to try to see if he can fit our system. Is that still this kind of same thing?
Yeah.
Because every GM has a dream of bringing in their own guys.
Well, and look, head coaches are very difficult to find. Chuck's won a lot of games. So we continue to roll. It ain't going the way we want right now, but we got a lot of season left.
Jacoby Brissett's a hell of a player.
I don't think people realize what he's been able to do, bringing in last minute, changing complete offense, language, new personnel, not having thrown any of these wideouts. Tremendous kid, tremendous leader, everything you want.
He seems passionate. Like he rounded up I think it was like his second or third week on the team. He'd only been there for 17 to 20 days. And on the sideline, he had everybody in a circle. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? He seems like he's got it.
No, he's got it. He's just a young player. He's 23 years old, second year in the league. And I just think the potential he has, he'll continue to grow. And I think you see it week to week. He keeps getting better every week. And that's what you want to see. And even off of the Jacksonville week where he didn't have a good week, he didn't panic.
That was fucking ugly, by the way.
It was terrible. He came back and he worked. And every week he gets better.
Whenever he got signed here, I was reading some of the newspaper articles, and they were like, this Jacoby Brissett signing is for long-term plans, long-term thoughts. Now you're watching him play. I assume that there's a lot of people that are looking for a Jacoby. You're sitting on Andrew Luck, who's on IR, a lot of drama around that whole situation, and Jacoby Brissett. What is are you waiting till the offseason to kind of see what happens, or do you have a long-term plan for what you're going to do, or what? It's good to have an abundance of great quarterbacks, but I feel like you're sitting in that situation now.
Well, you can't have enough good quarterbacks.
Well, I was there. You lost me. Just 100% passer, 100% passer rating on Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Gobble gobble.
Versus Pittsburgh.
0% completion percentage against the Dallas Cowboys, though. So it's one or the other. But you have two great quarterbacks.
Put you in the game. The one game they were going to put you in.
Steelers.
That's right.
Yeah. I would have died, Chris.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Chris, I would have died. James Harrison, have you ever seen any of his internet workout videos? All he does is what is that called where they put needles in you? All he does is acupuncture and lift cars. That's all he does. I got nothing to do with him, Chris. But you have two great quarterbacks right now in the Indianapolis Colts. And if you talk about Steven and Scott, I mean, you got an abundance of great quarterbacks right now. Have you thought about what the plans for the future, or are you just going to kind of roll with it?
We will never be short at that position. We will continue to evaluate it and keep players on the roster. You can't have what you don't want to do is have a really good team, and then all of a sudden your starter goes down and you don't have anybody to go to that you can continue to win with.
Well, that's why we got luck.
Yes, it is.
Just for future. One guy's neck got hurt, and then Kerry Collins came in, had a 9-week concussion. Curtis Painter batted a 0%, and Dan Orlovsky came in and won 2 games. So I completely understand about that. Have you enjoyed the bullshit that revolves around being a GM? Because you're like a CEO of a company now, basically, right?
I don't mind. I always just take it day by day, and it is what it is. Like, when it's not going good, it is what it is. Stand up, be honest, accept it, freaking own it, and move forward. I don't worry about, because it's all part of the journey of building something great. If you don't, what makes it so sweet when you reach the pinnacle is the tough times that you went through to build it. And I don't ever want to lose sight of that. So no, I don't mind the BS that you have to deal with on a daily basis.
Do you speak to the team ever?
I've had my talks with the team, and I like being around the team. I like being around players. I like players. It's where we lose sight sometimes. This is a players' league, and everything we need to do to be successful needs to be about the player. From a medical standpoint, from a nutrition standpoint, from a rehab standpoint, from when they're done playing standpoint. It's our duty to get back to them. And I really have that perspective on it. I worry. With you, you're a great example. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew what your life's work was going to be. You got to go chase your dream. And
get drunk and high and have conversations.
and talk to people.
Let's go. Let's go. Represent the shield.
But we have to be able to give our players guidance. And we have to give them a chance to be successful when their careers are over. It's one of my, when veteran players that have played 10, 11, 12 years, whenever they walk out of the building, it's hard. When you retire, when you finish playing, it is hard. And because all of a sudden you don't have the camaraderie of the locker room. That's a big deal. You don't have Sunday. Because that feeling it gives all of us on Sunday is why we do what we do. Even the losses, they suck. But those feelings, those euphoria of winning games, and people don't realize the high that you get off of it. There's nothing like it. And so when that ends for a player that's been in the league for a long time, and even for a short period, that's hard.
Yeah, because they still had it in college and in high school too, so it's the same type of moment.
And it ends at all. Look, at all different levels. Some guys it ends in high school, some college, some NFL. But there's a void in your life of what football is giving you, and the locker room is giving you, and Sunday is giving you, and we have to be able to help them find their way.
Is that a GM's role or more so the league? What do you do you more represent the league or the team?
We represent the team.
So when you go into business meetings with other GMs, it's basically about the game as opposed to the business?
It's about the game. Yeah, it's about the game.
Do you have any talks about the business of the NFL? Do you have a big dick in that meeting? Hey, I think we should do this, or
I got a very small PP in that meeting.
It's all right, man. You look like you're 12, so I gotta understand that.
How old does Cal look?
Yeah, he looks like a child too. I don't know. Are you work for him? Are you in the scouting department? Nice.
Let me just
hold on. Do you
need to get Cal? Come get Cal.
Come here for a second.
Look, we need to find Cal.
Is he single?
He's single.
How old are you, Cal? Come here, bub. Kyle, where are you from?
Chicago.
How'd you get this gig?
I was working for the Colts, and then Chris came on, so I started to work for Chris.
Might have been the best.
Who'd you work for?
Might have been the best scouting job I did.
Did you work for Grigson?
No, I didn't work for Grigson.
By the way, this position for Grigson was ironing his clothes, doing his laundry, washing his car, using his only bag to go to England to carry a Keurig for the GM because he only wanted one certain kind of coffee in England. Anyways, I won't make use.
Hey, let me tell you where I found him. So he's working in finance, and we had a golf tournament last year, and we kind of put it together at the last minute. Whole organization, everybody goes and plays golf.
Sober.
We all went and played golf. and this thing gets organized, put together. It's well run. I mean, who did this? And they said, Cal put this together. I said, Cal, that's working down in finance? I said, yeah. I said, so then when we had a change, I said, man, get him on our side.
I want
and
that golf. I want the golf organizer in my office.
He has got a bright future.
So scouting it, you feel like that is actually scouting though. Like a lot of people don't understand that type of decision is real scouting. Like you saw him put together something, you saw his actual benefit. You're like, wow, this guy's probably good at a lot of other shit. When you're scouting for the NFL, what are the things you look for? Do you look for, obviously you look for the intangibles, right? Is he fast? Can he play football? But do you have like a personality test you give people to see if they're like competitive, to see if they're good team people, to see if they won't get drunk and arrested in their second year? Do you have shit like that?
I wish, hey, look, we all make mistakes.
Amen.
And that's why we've got to be able to dig deeper and to see what, how important is the game to them. Guys that the game's important to them, they're going to work at their craft. And they're going to work to get better. That's what you want when they're just playing for money. And look, I don't want everyone to say that that's not important because it is to the player. They're given a lot and they got a chance to make a lot of money.
This office is nice because of that money.
But at the end of the day, guys that love to play, they're going to work to get better. And they're going to be driven to get better. And they're going to be good in the locker room. Look, and I've had talks with our players about this. I've talked with Vinny about this, and I've talked with Jacoby and some of our defensive guys. Until the locker room holds each other accountable, until you get to a point where, look, the coach can only snap the whip so much. Until the locker room, there's pure accountability for performance. You'll never truly be great. You have to hold each other accountable for things that go on the field. And when somebody's not holding their end of the bargain, players need to be able to call players out about it. So we need guys that aren't scared to ruffle some feathers, that aren't scared to challenge their teammates to be better.
I feel like I was pretty good at that. That's one thing I think that I was pretty good at.
You were definitely a shit starter.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I've walked into a few offices and let some people know what I thought about certain situations. But when I was playing with Peyton, right? So I got a chance to come in at the end of the winningest decade in NFL history, which was awesome to be a part of. I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I shouldn't have been there. But I got a chance to watch Peyton basically be coach, GM at some points, and then mentor and friend for people in the locker room. And it takes like the guy like that to like get in there and get in your shit, basically. He would stop a practice, restart a practice, do what he had to do. And on the defensive side, Gary Brackett, Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney would do the same thing, holding people accountable. Bob Sanders was there for a little bit. Who on this team that you have now, it's a young fucking team, do you have hopes for to be like the flag holders for the squad?
So we're getting a couple back. So there's been some surprises. Matthias Farley.
He was a PP for me for a long time and a gunner. He kicked one in the end zone from the 2-yard line. He and I was on a Pro Bowl run too, but I love Matthias. He's one of my favorite humans on that team.
It's been fun to watch him grow this year, not only as a player, but as a leader. I think when we get Gathers back, I think Gathers has got some seriousness about him. He wants to win. He's worked really hard to get back. I think Ryan Kelly has a chance to really ascend and take over a unit. And I think it's important because, look, I think at the end of the day, the O-line has to be a key group for you. You have to have some leaders because they dominate the locker room.
So what happened in the locker room when 10 sacks were given up and then T.Y., who was an incredible football player, obviously made it public about how he felt. Did you get involved in that, or is that like a coach player or player
No,
thing?
I had my discussions with Ty, but that's a coach player, something coach handles.
Got you.
But
That's an
talked with
interesting
T.Y.
situation,
And
though.
T.Y.'s is T.Y.'s as good a kid.
He just wants to have
Just,
fun
it was
and
the
win.
Emotions of the moment. He knows better. But it was the emotions of the moment. We all sucked that day. That was not a good day for anybody. All of us sucked. And he was frustrated. And I get it. But there's a time and place where you vent.
Where do you watch games from?
Up in the press box. There's a little box up there.
Next to it. You listen to music? Listen to the game call? Or you
I listen to the game call.
Who? Bob Lamey or?
Listen to Bob.
He's the best. Bob Lamey's the best.
He's good.
He's gonna make you feel good too if you're a Colts fan.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even when I've screwed it up, man, Chris Ballard doing great.
Hey. What is one mistake you've made? You think that you look back and you go, "Fuck, I shouldn't have done that." Well, I like this, by the way, because people ask me the question. It's hard to find one.
No, yeah, because when you think you've done it all good, looking back, right now, letting you retire is the number one. That's the worst.
Rigo is good.
Mistake I've made.
Just for future reference, Rigo, I am a big fan of Rigo.
Let me tell you this.
He's talented.
Tom McMahon, who I think's excellent, our special team coach. I think he's
Incredible. He changed my career.
and he's changed many a kicker and punter's career. Comes to me, and this is after we had signed Jeff. And Jeff's a good punter too.
By the way, when you signed him, I knew it wasn't going to work.
He had a great preseason.
Yeah, but his kickoffs were so bad. Like I wasn't a one-trick pony here. You gotta find somebody.
He did pretty good in Minnesota. I mean, when he went to Detroit on his kickoffs. But saying that, he goes, Chris, I went and worked out this punter. He goes, we need to sign him. He goes, he's unbelievable. So all right, let's roll. All right, we just sign the guy. And next thing I know, he is out there booming kicks and has got a bright future. And I give Tom all the credit.
I got a chance to come to one practice before training camp to work with Rigo and holding because Vinatieri sent me a text. Was like, hey, is there any way you can teach this guy how to hold? I think he might get the job, is what Vinny said. This guy has a big leg. And I watched him in practice, and he had this echoing boom off a ball that's what, as a person who likes to look at other kickers, that's what I look for. You can teach technique to a motherfucker. You can't teach a boom, and Rigo's got it. I love Rigo.
No, when you can close I always close my eyes. I like to go to practice and just hear the sounds. And when he punch, you can hear the sounds.
Yeah.
No, it's funny with Vinny because I could just tell during training camp he's got a
brand new snapper,
a brand new snapper, a rookie, and then we decide to move a linebacker and make him
snapper
because he wants to do it. And is doing well at it. And we got a rookie holder, and I could just see the death stares about twice a week.
Yeah, Vinny's like, "Hey, motherfucker, man, I'm like 47 years old, and you got these two 12-year-olds holding for me."
I gotta tell you a story.
Yeah, how is your relationship with Vinny?
It's good.
Is he older than you?
No, he's a little younger. But so, next week I get hired, so he's and I walk in the training room. And here's this gray-haired man.
His off-season
working with Aaron, our trainer, and I just walked past him. And I think he looked up at Aaron and goes, he didn't know who it was. And I turned around and said, "Fuck, dude, you're old."
I had the same reaction. Because Vinatieri, when you're scouring an NFL locker room, you're talking about some of the most fit, most athletic, 21 to 29-year-old humans on Earth. You're talking about avatars running around. And then you see Vinny, this short little fella from South Dakota who's got this gigantic gray beard, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then that just so happens to be the greatest, maybe football player to ever watch. He's going to score the most points in the history of the game.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. The way he prepares, the way how he is in the locker room, there's not a negative to him, and he is. I mean, look, we got two guys on our team that I think are truly special, and they're going to be Hall of Famers, Frank Gore and Adam Vinatieri, and I've been just what luck to be able to be around.
Frank Gore loves football, man.
I
love football, man. I love football, man.
That's all he does.
So
I take the job. about a weekend, I'm like, well, keep Frank Gore, 34 years old, at the end of his career.
It's getting older.
Yeah. So Pete Ward had called and said, hey, Chris, he won an award from the league. And so about 10:30 at night, I'm coming back from dinner, Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl Saturday. I call Frank, thinking I'm just going to leave him a congratulations message. He answers the phone.
What time is it?
About 10:30 at night. And he's in the middle of a party. And he knew it was because he had got my number from Alex Smith. Chris, you know what it looks like. We are going to win. And I could just feel the passion. I went in the next day and watched every freaking snap of Frank Gore and said, no way am I letting this guy off this football field.
So he called you, and you called him. He answers, and he was ready. He had your phone number already from Alex Smith. Did he do any other research on you? Did he know you?
Other than from Alex. No, we had never.
He was waiting for your call.
We had never met, and it was funny he's just accepted this award. He's in the middle of a Super Bowl party, but Frank Gore if you could have 53 Frank Gores. He loves football. He's passionate. He's a great teammate. He wants to win. He's willing to put in the time to win. He's everything you want.
I was sitting on a plane ride home last year after the Oakland Raiders game. It was our last away game, I believe. Or maybe it was, I don't know. I think it was our last away game. And I was just sitting there, and word had gotten out that I was done, right? And Frank Gore comes up and sits next to me and goes, hey, dog, you would have loved our team in San Fran, man. You would have fit in perfect, man. We love football, man. I just love football, man. I'm like, Frank, you seem like this is my first real conversation with Frank, though. And we talked for like 45 minutes to an hour. And the only thing I got out of him that I heard is this: he's a hardworking guy who fucking loves football. That is all Frank Gore is. He just loves football. And I'm not sure. I think he could probably play for another 10 years if he wants. I have no clue how long he has left. But the utmost respect for that guy is outrageous.
Never been around a guy who prepares.
No pads. Wears no fucking pads. He wears that water bottle as shoulder pads, and he just runs through people. I'm like, bro, like a lot of science and medicine is saying that you're fucking yourself up later, but you're killing people.
He is a special, and that's why he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
You cut Vontae. What happened?
Because Vontae's a good kid, man.
Hey, dog.
He is a good kid. Just at the end of the day, his performance had fell off.
So he was a high-priced player. He was a multiple Pro Bowler. And at corner, that's a type of position where if you're not at 100%, you can get smoked out of nowhere. Yeah, it can happen.
No, it's tough. It's a tough position to play.
What is the future of the Colts? You getting younger still? Are you going to bring in vets? What do you think you need?
So we got to get to where we get a core group of Colts, guys that are homegrown, guys that we have drafted, that you start seeing their name, like when you see people wear McAfee.
A lot of them. A lot of McAfee jerseys.
Harrison, Edgerrin James. You want to see these jerseys being worn around the stadium. And the only way we're going to do that is from drafting homegrown talent. And so we got to get a core group of players, which I think we're on our way, that this town can root for.
My man. I appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you having me.
I'll tell you what.
I'm coming back.
What do you drink? Do you drink?
Water.
Pussy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this, Chris. This was really nice of you, man. And I would have loved playing in your building, but I was already checked out by the time you and I talked. I was ready to go on.
That's because you didn't give me 10 minutes.
I gave you 25 minutes that day in Europe, but I was already decided. I had already flipped the switch. I'm excited to see the future of the Colts under you, man. Every single decision you make, and this is just something. So, like, my issue with the previous GM is I came in under Polian, right? He was a Hall of Famer. So, like, the way he would handle shit, I'd be like, okay, this is probably how it's supposed to be. Like, I'm a sponge when it comes to, like, watching things. Now, granted, I party a lot. I have a good time, but I enjoy learning from people. The new GM came in and just everything he did I thought was wrong, and it was. And then now you've come in, and I really believe, like, the moves you're making and the decisions you're making, although they're difficult and maybe uncomfortable, Like, I'm sure cutting Vontae was a very uncomfortable decision. That's a very uncomfortable decision.
Yeah.
That's a high tier player with a name. Putting Andrew Luck on IR after not putting him on PUP, wasting a roster spot for the first 6 weeks. I questioned you heavy for that.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And then
the only one.
Yeah. But then you made the hard decision to send him to IR. That's a fucking hard decision because that guy. A lot of tickets were sold with him coming back. The goal was him come back. And then you had to make the hard decision for the best for the team. Trading for a quarterback 4 days before the fucking season starts. You've done a lot of awesome things, man. Yeah. Big old ball sack on you, I think. And I I like that. I feel like you very much want to win just as much as the players do. And that's absolutely awesome. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Ballard, GM of the Indianapolis Colts.
Appreciate it.